What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we need to talk to you about SoFi. I want to give you an overview of some of the current data points, break it down on what really moved it. Aside from that, what analysts are saying. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did close at $10.04. So welcome back to the tens. It did go up 11.43%. 10.07 the high, 9.38 the low. It would be interesting to see who actually did sell when it caused this dip right here once the market did open. You can kind of see right here it was a lot of entities selling for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why they would sell based on the news, but I'm going to go over that in a second. On a side note, today is Columbus Day in the States, so the bond market is closed. Historically, that does result in lower volume, but not necessarily in SoFi's case because there was 116.16 million shares being traded. 43.17 is the average. And like I just alluded to, based on the transactions above $100,000 on the secondary market, this is just the highest I've ever seen it. And I've been covering SoFi on and off for about, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. This is amazing stuff. And yes, there is some pockets of selling in between, but this is pretty amazing. Even the dark pool is very active, and that is all because of this news right here. So SoFi expands loan platform business with $2 billion agreement with Fortress Investment. So as soon as this came out this morning, I instantly thought of a tweet that Anthony put out roughly around 3 weeks ago. It was completely random, and it talked on personal loans. And essentially, that might have been laying the foundation for this. So I don't know if that was signed several weeks ago just because of just whatever, some final agreements or whatever. Maybe this is when they put out the news today, but it was truly signed a couple weeks ago. But in reality, given SoFi's growth, this is phenomenal for it. And basically, this news in combination with this other news that did come out for SoFi about the IPOs that came out on October the 2nd, both kind of, if you think about it, are signaling that SoFi sees significant upside with the market, right? So more of a calling the bottom, if that makes sense, because even just based on this news, IPOs do increase as the market is obviously bottomed, and that we're about to enter into an expansionary stage. So with rate cuts coming down the pipeline, so for the November 7th, a 25, and even a following 25 for the December 18th, in combination just with everything that's been happening to SoFi, there's no wonder why big money cannot get enough of SoFi. Only negative side of today is I believe it might be a holiday in the UK, which is what Ortex is based out of. So regrettably, I didn't actually, and I'm not able to see what happened with shorts today. So it would be, that would have been probably of all days amazing to see, because most likely given the performance of what happened today, it probably shorts did return. So I'll find out tomorrow exactly the damage that did happen to the shorts, but shorts lost their shit today. And so that's kind of a good thing in reality, but pardon my French on a side note, but 16.89% of the free float is being shorted. As well, the options, that is just amazing stuff. So not only was it record numbers of transactions, large transactions, but record amount of options dollar value. 50 million in calls, 6.74 million in puts. 48% of all the options being done are optimistic and bullish. Even just the first 5 minutes of the trading day, so between 8:30 and 8:35, there was 4.1 million in premiums. Based on the options, the call options that were purchased today, there's a consensus for it to be above roughly around 11 to 11.50. So still a lot more upside to come. Based on the bears, people are anticipating for it to be sub roughly $9. So in my opinion, still a lot more upside is anticipated. There was also, just popping over to IBKR, there was a new analyst rating that came out today, KBW, $7 price target. Tim, who has a 92% success rating, 92. Absolutely kick ass. And even aside from that, so subtract the news that came out today, which is very amazing, But if you factor in the Elliott Wave Technicals, which does have a pivot point of $7.94, it was projected for SoFi to hit between this range anyways. So $9.99 and $10.40 in the short term. So I think the news that did come out today just kind of propelled SoFi to these levels. But in my opinion, once you factor in this new kind of news that came out, like realistically, we could easily be back at that $14 range. So yeah, honestly, I think SoFi just got moved from good to better to amazing just in the span of like 2 weeks. Because yeah, honestly, going back over here, looking just generally at the last 1 month, up 29.34%. Like, you don't see that happen all too often. So this is one of the downsides of doing options. So if a lot of people did do lock-in covered calls, then yeah, this is again the downside of that, because you kind of miss out on the potential premiums. So just on a side note, if you are expecting stock to really break out, then usually selling covered calls isn't the way to do it. Either sell puts or buy calls. That's kind of the thing that you need to keep in mind. But quickly going over here, amazing stuff. So usually 9 times out of 10, whenever a stock does break outside the Bollinger Band, there is a certain level of consolidation. So just anticipate some profit taking and some consolidation tomorrow. But I think based on the news, it is somewhat justified for it to be back in the double digits. Stochastic, you see it rather overbought at 95, but despite that though, you do see at the same time a nice bullish deviation. So the first sign of weakness, which so far there's nothing really coming out this week data point wise to disrupt this positive momentum, but with it being overbought, you could see once again some consolidation based on that. A number of retail investors did buy in. So at the same time, you see retail and institutions buying into SoFi. So if you are part of that group, give yourself a shout out in the comments below. What have you guys been doing? Did you guys dabble with options? I know, like I said, this information isn't readily available, but given the volume and usually the fact that shorts do make up roughly at least 30% of the daily volume, it is fair to assume that shorts might have returned to about 15 million. So, or possibly even more. So do you think that's too far-fetched, or what's your guys' thoughts on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, if you do like my channel, my SoFi content, and want to support it, I did launch multiple different tiers on for my memberships for YouTube. So if you're just looking to support, or if you want buy signals for stocks and options, then definitely take a look at memberships, linked in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you guys watching.